Welcome. This is the Global Summit House podcast. Catch power interviews and discussions with influential, inspiring, and powerful people. Explore what's possible by tuning into this podcast with our all-new The Writers Project episodes, featuring one of the world's most inspired thinkers and writers. Visit our website at www.globalsummithouse.com.
Welcome back to another wonderful show. We got a great author that we're going to be presenting here today. I'm very honored to be able to talk with Nadolyn Robinson. She's the author of Boo Hoo Blue Purdue. She also has another great book out there that I want you guys to check out as well. So she's a very outstanding and inspiring children's author. She's going to be telling you all about her present work and what she's doing currently. So Nadolyn, how's it going today?
All is well. Everything's going just fine. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, likewise. So I said a few things to just kind of bring the audience into your world and what you're doing, but let's hear from yourself and tell us a little bit about what you got going on for us.
Oh, okay, sure. I am currently a published author of 3 books, and my latest, of course, is Boo Hoo Blue Purdue, which you had mentioned, and I started writing this one several years ago. I think I started publishing around 2011 or something like that. But my inspiration initially was from my sister's grandson. He was 4 years of age, and for some reason I asked him, I said, draw me a picture of you. It's just out of the blue. And so he did, and he drew this character. So that's how the character was derived. And of course, I had it to make it more pleasing to the eye, and so you can understand it, but he was the inspiration. And I kept it for some reason. And he's 22 now, but so you can imagine that was many years ago when he drew the picture when he was 4, and I kept it. And one day I looked at it and thought, I said, that is a nice character. So then I also thought about what I would do. And so I love color and I love children. I was a pediatric nurse at the time. And so I decided to write a book actually about all the primary colors, and I started with blue. And so I knew I had to have a story, and then the story just arrived in my head of a story of courage and a story of perseverance. And so that's how Boo Hoo Blue Purdue came about.
That's a great premise. I think the children need more of that, more than anything right now, with like so much trauma that they're experiencing. I mean, the adults are experiencing. So I can learn some from the book alone, just myself, and and just to hear the backstory about how you got this book into fruition. Is that it comes from your own personal story. Now, what type of reaction have you gotten from people from this book?
Well, I've gotten very positive reaction. I've had my sister, actually, which is the grandson, her grandson that initiated my thinking process. She worked for a company, a lawyer, and so they have schools that they sponsor and provide for. And so she took Boo Hoo Blue Purdue to school to read to the children. I believe this was a first grade class, if I'm not mistaken. And they enjoyed it so much that I made a personal visit to them and read it myself. And they would ask for the book before my sister would even come, and one boy in particular. And so, of course, I donated the book to them at this particular school at that particular time. Yes. And so it's been positive. I also have the book at another library in Memphis, Tennessee, out in the Whitehaven branch. And, I just started out, like I said, with the color blue, and I wanted a different color instead of just saying blue to divide the colors as to its perfected color. And so I started with azure blue, and I used the emotion of his natural colors, azure blue. Then he goes to cobalt blue, and then to midnight blue when he's really upset about something. And so that's how that came about. So that's what the story is about. His color is blue, so he stands out in a way. But when he's upset or when he's thinking about something and it's not in a positive way, then his color starts changing. And when he's really upset, it goes to midnight blue. And so he has this dilemma, and the book, after it depicts the 3 different colors that correlates his emotion, then he handles this dilemma, and he handles it successfully.
This is purely intriguing, and I'm very interested in the fact that this color blue, it's just very a neutral color, if you will, and people can really relate to the color blue. They really immediately go to emotions when you think about it, or they think of trust too. That's two things you think in your head. And when we think about how the culture of America is in terms of diversity, did you take that into consideration, that the fact that we were going to have a blue figure on the book was going to universal, that all of us can really relate to?
Exactly. I did take that into consideration, and I wanted to make it as child-friendly as possible, but yet bring a message. And I didn't want the message to be harsh. I just wanted it to be, normal and cool. And my biggest concern that it would be understood, because even in the book also, Boohoo has a friend named Sabrina. Yes. And so she was looking for him, is how his story goes, and he had meshed into the environment because of his emotions. And so she couldn't find him, and when she found him, she asked him what was he so upset about. So in a way, the other children were making fun of him. They weren't making fun of him. They were looking at him strangely and couldn't figure out why his color was blue. And so it bothered him and made him uncomfortable. And so his friend Sabrina told him to, why don't you just talk to them and ask them why they are staring at you, and so you can change back into your natural color. So Sabrina says, don't assume that it's a negative response. They may not know. They may not understand. So go talk to them. And so that's what he did. And in the book, there's a picture that shows that the children, when they are making fun of him or pretending, and even the sun is shining and the sun has a turned down mouth, representative was not happy with the way that the children were making him feel uncomfortable. So it goes on, the story can go on both sides, as a person that's receiving an uncomfortable, in an uncomfortable situation or spot, to think positive, and maybe it may not be as it seems. And also the children that made him feel uncomfortable may want to double think that maybe our staring is causing him to be uncomfortable. We maybe should just go ahead and talk to him and ask him instead of staring and making him uncomfortable. So, yeah, and that's more or less the gist of the story. But I enjoyed writing it very much, and I do have other stories in the making. They're not published yet for other colors. I have a green that's going to be for Jamie the fox. Okay. And then there's red, and then there's also yellow, which is going to be a story about the color of milk, but the milk is chocolate milk, but the color is yellow. So all of these stories in the making, I've really enjoyed it. Just bringing things to light, ideas and situations just come to me, and so this is what I produce, and I don't want to keep it to myself because it sounds good when I write it down. So that's my whole purpose of sharing for everyone to get a hold of this book.
Yeah, that's what
And
I really love about this.
thank
It's that dialogue that you're creating that
mhm.
really empowers the imagination.
Oh, thank you. Thank
And
you.
it really speaks to
Yes,
just your
yes,
writing style,
yes.
and a lot is packed into this
Mhm.
about the power to overcome adversity and and freedom, being
Mhm. Mhm.
free. And
Mhm. Mhm.
just
Mhm.
thinking about what are some of your influences and some of your favorite authors growing up, just to switch gears a little bit.
Well, some of my oh, sure. Some of my influences when I was growing up, first of all, my mother was a teacher. And so that just started me on the way because we stayed in the library and I just happened to love the library. I even like the way the library smells, how books smell. So I would read a lot and I still read a lot. But I fell in love with Shakespeare, believe it or not. My mom had back in the day, you had World Book encyclopedias, and along with that came two big volumes of writings of Shakespeare. And so I would read the plays, and I just fell in love with dialect and ideas, and my imagination just go. And of course, Maya Angelou is one of my. I write poetry as well. I have a book of poetry that's out that I published, and Langston Hughes and Robert Frost. I love him as well and his poetry. So those have been some of my inspirations along the way, along with um, more what's it called, regular upbeat current authors. Right now I am as far as fiction goes, Grissom is one of my favorites as well. I'm reading something, I think it's called Sully by John Grisham. So it's just that and I know he's an attorney and out of Memphis or Mississippi area, Memphis, I believe. But those have been some of my authors and books that I like to read. So, but mostly children. I was a pediatric nurse for about 40 years, and I just enjoy children, and so I just wanted to produce something that a child would like. And like I said, I didn't want to make it too. I just want to make sure it was worthy. I want to make it good, and I want to make it to be read over and over again if the child, chooses to desire, and if it was okay with the parents.
Yeah, absolutely. I really feel like you hit the mark here, and we appreciate you so much. Now,
Mm-hmm.
just as we come into a close, now
Thank you.
if you can like put it in maybe about one or two sentences as to why parents should go out and go check this book out. How would you phrase that and maybe put in a little bit of the wrap up into the book, what to expect?
Well, I would recommend Boohoo Blue Purdue to any parent that wants their child to know that diversity and also any situation that they are in is comparable. They're able to figure things out. They're able to deliver a message for themselves that they are important, that they stand out, and also the learning of the different colors, because blue is such a basic color. It's a common color, and you also have the opportunity to have the child express how they feel, maybe in different situations. And the main thing, being on that level for that age group, that they're not too young to learn. Not too young to learn about different things or situations that they may encounter. So this will be an easy read, for the parent to read to the child. It's a picture book. There are, colorful pictures that where Boohoo Blue Purdue is shown in those different colors that go along with the story. And also that there's a friend that's helping him through this. He's not alone. He's comfortable with talking to his friend, and he also listens to his friend's advice, which was good advice. And in the end, everything just turned out very well.
Outstanding. Well, you definitely got me sold on it, and I can't wait to
Oh, good.
grab
Thank
my
you. Go out
copy.
and buy my book.
Yeah, I already pressed that
Okay,
add to cart
perfect.
button.
I appreciate it.
I'm looking at it right now.
I hear you.
Yeah, so I'm gonna
Oh,
be.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got kids that got to hear the
Yeah.
story, and it's really going to help them out a ton of bit. And I know there's parents
Well, good.
who of a same like mind that's feeling the way I'm feeling now after
Mhm,
hearing this
mhm.
interview today. So
Right.
Nadolyn Robinson, everybody. Also check out she has another older book out there, Cocoon of Protection. Yeah, that one we didn't get a chance to talk
Yeah.
about that one, but definitely
Mhm.
and matter of fact, I'll let you say a few things about that one just real quickly. Maybe tell us a little bit
Okay.
about that one.
Sure. Okay. Well, Cocoon of Protection is for like young adults, and it is actually a book of poem. It's one long poem, believe it or not. And I called it In My Father's Hand because this poem represents protection, knowing you're protected, knowing that you were created for a purpose, knowing that you will come into the understanding of what your purpose is. And on the history of the story behind it, I was sitting on a bus. I was in Maryland, and on the back of the bus, it was dedicated a seat to the seat was dedicated to Rosa Parks. Mm-hmm. That when she, for the civil rights and initiated that, and so it was the first single seat behind the driver, and a small plaque that read, "This seat is dedicated to the memory of Rosa Parks, who took a seat on a bus in Montgomery, Alabama, and changed the course of American history." And so she was being true to herself without fear. And it's like all of us, I think, are created for a purpose, and we will know when our time comes, and that we should look forward to that, to know that you are here for a reason, and you have a purpose, and you have a drive, and you never know when that moment will come. But always being prepared and know that you're not just on this earth just to be on this earth. And so that's why I called it In My Father's Hand, in relationship to God the Father.
I love it. Make sure you guys check that one out as well. We're going to part ways right here. Yes. But you can find both of those books anywhere that you can pick up a book at. For far as any book, any of your favorite book distributors, you'll be able to find the books online as well. My go-to place is Amazon. So, but definitely, you can get it just about anywhere books are sold. Thank you today. Thank you for joining us today, Nadolyn. Do hold the line just briefly, and we will check in with you.
Sure.
So, ladies and gentlemen out there, boys and girls, thank you for joining us today. We look to have you back on another great author interview. Until next time, many blessings, peace, and lots of love. I'm your host, Marcus.
You've reached the end of another episode of the Global Summit House podcast. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Podbean, iHeartRadio, iTunes, or Google Play. Connect with us at globalsummithouse.com. See you on the next episode.